round number 2 of the Grenke Chess Classic 2019. A very big apology for the long break and the improvised new setup. I'm now on my own laptop. Let's hope this works better because we still have quite a bit of action going on in this second round of the tournament. While we were gone, Peter Svidler has won what looked like a bit of a textbook game against Arkady Naiditsch. I can't even tell you with certainty where Naiditsch went wrong, but Svidler, especially this very instructive knight maneuver, shuffling his knight via d8 to b7 to d6 to c4. One nice game, and just as I'm speaking, I'm getting very high-level company in this studio. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave and Fabian Caruana are there. We have to find chairs for everybody with our improvised setup. How do we do this, Jose? The mics are still the same? No, we have enough chairs, no? Mic up, sir. I don't know if that changes anything. I'm not sure if anybody's watching. Like, this is a very improvised, messy setup, but we'll just assume there are people out there. What happened in your game?
But then there's the rest of complications. I mean, I don't
This looked like one of these Jobaba 1b3 games where it would go f3, g4, but you're not in time, maybe?
my queen side is too vulnerable.
So queen e7 is in there.
Oh, even queen with the sack on b4 is right. I mean, it depends. Very concrete.
Then in the game here after h3, do you have to go for this endgame or? Okay, I thought it's like some martial thing.
I thought I don't know if h2 was interesting. I thought yeah. Yeah, I thought about it.
Jose, are the mics on? I'm reading some complaints. People can hear me, which is of course the most important, but maybe we should give the guys a chance to. Yeah, more apologies. I'm getting tired of apologizing, but we will yell. That's it?
Apparently.
So you were saying a6 interesting?
Yes.
I mean, the way Maxime played is not bad, but maybe a bit unpleasant for black.
Yeah, no, I missed in advance because I was only considering bishop e4, pawn takes, rook takes, knight d4, bishop d5, rook g4. But then it should be very close to a draw. And then I realized rook e2 is a very legal move.
Yeah, rook e2 is... I mean, at first I didn't think I had much here, but king d1 I started to feel like black is under some pressure.
Peter was praising king d1 a lot.
Yeah, it's a very good move.
Yeah, I need to stop knight f2 at any cost, basically. Yeah, and then we got some... Okay, I was a bit surprised by knight g3. I thought knight d6. But there I am. I mean, first of all, knight e6 is a bit concerning for black, maybe.
Yeah, no, I wanted to create my own counterplay. That's...
Yeah, it's...
So after rook e8, I considered for a second bishop e8.
Yeah, I was
and
also...
then I noticed b4 is very strong.
I was also considering this maybe at b4, bishop d6 most likely.
Yes, and then knight f5,
But knight f5 taken rook d8. Why is that?
bishop d4.
This is bishop g6. Bishop d6, I guess.
Yes.
Um,
No, maybe it's nothing, but
yeah, rook e8. I know rook e8 taken. Okay,
bishop e6. Yeah.
and then bishop c8. Yeah, okay. It's scary for black. I also saw some other move here, which looked interesting. I think it was knight b3 or something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, knight b3 also is. So I thought it's better to take with the rook. I mean, I'm definitely slightly worse, but I felt it's not the end of the world. c4, I guess, is a strong idea because I cannot take everything and play bishop f5 because of king d2.
Yeah, this is a bad endgame.
Yes. So I just...
I overestimated c4. I thought I already had a large advantage, but after take king f8, it's very difficult to prove anything.
If you play more slowly, b4 or whatever, you think it's chances? Or
e4 bishop d6, yeah, I mean, maybe I should go for something slow and then... But I just thought c4 was strong, so
Right.
this kind of slow play, maybe I should consider.
Yeah, here the thing is after bishop d5 there's rook d8. So knight e6 would be, instead of bishop d5, would be the best way, but bishop takes.
Rook takes. I mean, even rook takes in a5, I just didn't think I would
Yeah,
have anything in this endgame. a5 and again.
yeah, bishop c3, I continued, but
Yeah, b6,
I
b4,
thought,
take bishop d6, I just didn't believe in it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I was considering something like this.
although maybe king d2 and it's still a lot of work for black to draw this. Yeah, king 7, bishop
Short
b5.
trial?
I mean, it depends if black is in time to consolidate, bishop b5 maybe, then it's just a draw.
Yeah, I would need some sort of fortress, but no, I thought bishop g8 after king
Yeah,
e7
bishop
to win one tempo. But even there, I think there should be,
Yeah, it should be a draw, but of course,
yeah,
not 100%.
some work, yeah.
Yeah, again, b4, bishop d6, I was kind of counting on bishop takes e6 after, because take,
Yeah, yeah.
bishop takes, I mean, it's what I would like to play. And then bishop f4 is probably the best move. And here I was counting on bishop c3, and then I noticed knight f1, and black immediately equalizes. Maybe not totally immediately, I can play rook e4, knight e3, king e2, but knight g, no wait, no, and f5, and this is the problem, yeah. f5 here is good for black. So, yeah, this knight f1 I think is really important, otherwise it's a lot of suffering. And if I don't play bishop c3, if I play king c2, then there's knight f5. And rook e4, it's still playable for white, but I thought knight d6, at the very least, if black can equalize with this.
Yes.
And maybe knight e3 works, I don't know.
So overall, there's no clear-cut moment where you feel you missed a chance, or was there?
I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, by the end I tried to have a scare, but fortunately I can give up this a6 pawn.
Yeah. No, I can't point to any clear moment, but there might have been something where I could have put a lot of pressure on Maxime.
Yes. Yeah, I was definitely worried about my position, but at the same time I felt it should be draw if I managed to keep things together.
Let's have one brief look at the Magnus game. Is this just a draw now?
It should be, but it's I mean, it's
a
not
very
as
pleasant draw.
easy anymore. But maybe knight d2 is good enough here.
Knight d2, black can play
G2.
g2 and rook a2. I don't know what this endgame is.
I mean,
Is this a
no,
technical
this
win?
is
That's
win.
a win,
This
right?
is a
I
win.
think,
Yeah, yeah, no, this is a win. I didn't see g2, but this is a win. Actually, an easy one.
It's easy, even easier. I've never had a look at this position.
I actually had this in one of my games.
You didn't read
But I knew it was an easy win,
endgames.
so- Yes.
You were on the strong side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those end games which is so rare. At least I never.
No,
felt
but
the
wait,
need
I think
to-
Meyer had this recently. No, anyway. it's
No, but
possible.
then how do you make a draw with white?
Um,
It may be rook c4. But then
rook
bishop
c4,
f4,
96 also.
rook g4,
King. Where do I? Can I put my king anywhere?
king h6 you want, yeah?
So 96 here?
Yeah.
But I don't see what's wrong with
No,
knight
no.
g3.
No,
Knight g3
but rook g6 check. But knight g3, knight f4 check, of course. But
Ah.
rook g6 is...
Yeah, rook g6 is good.
There's no win for white.
Although, is it? Because I can probably eliminate your knight, right?
Oh? Um,
Not a really relevant variation. But yeah, no, bishop b5 just covers it.
yes.
Yeah, so wait, after rook
So after rook
c4,
c4, bishop f4, or what do we do?
Yeah, but bishop f4,
yeah, rook c5.
oh, king f6. Maybe you need bishop f7 instead of rook c5, just to keep the knight in... No, but then...
But how does it keep the knight after knight d7?
Yeah, it's coming.
Still work for Paco Boy, yeah? It's not straightforward.
I mean, I think it's probably more likely that black will win. Because also practically it's just so unpleasant. You have so many options on each move.
Yeah, I don't know how he got such an unpleasant position, because I saw after f4 check, I thought it's gonna be difficult to lose, but
Yeah, but somehow...
now
this
there's
king-
potential.
No, but also the question is if maybe it's objectively just bad. Could be. 'Cause it's not like you have any easy moves with white here. If rook c5, what does black play? King f6, I guess? Yeah, it's hard to keep this knight
Knight is so
contained.
fast, yeah.
It gets in somehow.
Okay, let's get to the important questions. New episode of Game of Thrones coming out tonight. Will you watch in real time? What's the plan?
Yeah, we'll watch it tonight, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know how they're going to wrap things up with only one season left. It's just so difficult. There's so much that still has to happen.
I was hoping they would just kill the humans in the first 2 episodes, and then the White Walkers are setting up a new society across Westeros and trying to set things up.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like it's happening. Are you watching Game of Thrones?
I'm a stranger to all of this. I tried to watch first episode, and after 10 minutes I realized
No,
chess is easier.
The first episode is weak. I mean, in general, it's very slow, but it gets so good.
You gotta hang in there, yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've been
92 here?
taught.
Can I play that? I mean, 96, 94, king f5. I was just wondering.
Bishop d7, but g2? Ah, g2
No,
and then
G2
you have
doesn't work
rook d5.
anymore.
Should d7, yeah?
Yeah. Which is a funny position. It's a draw already.
Close, yeah?
And if I was wondering if black could play like king g7. No, but there's no square again, yeah. Because rook g5 covers.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah, maybe this rook c5 and knight e2 is.
So wait, is king f6 the only move?
Well,
King
there's king
f4, you
f4,
check,
rook
huh?
c4, and king f5.
What about king f5?
That's
Yeah.
weird.
It's weird, but also black doesn't have a clear threat right now, so
Yeah, maybe king g2 now.
king g2 and f check, or what were you
King
doing?
h3.
Ah, there's knight e3. Yeah, king f5 feels a little bit.
Yeah.
No, maybe you should play king f4.
Yeah, but then rook c4.
King f5.
I mean,
Quite
it
important that rook g4, g2 is.
feels like there's gonna be a strategy like draw, but
Well, it's not easy. To,
yeah, bishop c6 maybe. Sure.
Also feels incredibly hard to calculate over the board, no?
Yeah.
Nothing is easy and
But this
everything
rook
looks very
c5 move,
shaky.
like if I saw this over the board, then there's knight d2, then I think I would play rook c5.
Yeah.
and hope for the best.
Let's play it. Rook b6, rook a2 is on the board.
Okay. Rook b4. Maybe rook b4? Is there a problem with this move? I don't quite see it. Probably 96. No, 96 is the same story, right? Rook
Yeah.
g4.
Rook g4, yeah. Wait, now king h6,
No, rook g6? What?
king h7.
This would be bad luck, wouldn't it? By
But,
the way, what is rook takes g3?
Yeah, knight takes g3. I mean,
No, not knight. Oh, you mean the move before?
yeah.
Yeah, but also...
No, actually, no. Knight and bishop against rook and bishop, opposite squared. I think it's a win for.
No, we should allow the knight, yeah?
Yeah.
No, the rook g6 and rook g3 is probably the way to play this.
Yes. Oh, wait, I have easier. Instead of rook g6, bishop f7.
That doesn't look
How's
easier.
that easier?
Knight f4 and g2?
Rook h4.
Yeah.
But g2 right away, maybe. And then it really doesn't look easier. G2 wins, yeah.
Well, it's very easy, right? You just design and go home.
The dream.
Oh, yeah, but white is probably... So rook b4 looks like a natural move.
Yeah.
I mean, its endgame is extremely interesting.
Yeah, rook b4 looks.
So much calculating. Poor Paco. What do you think? What are his chances to draw versus Magnus' winning chances right now?
I don't see an easy move after rook b4, and I think that this is an easy move to play, so... It depends, yeah. If rook b4 somehow doesn't work, then his chances of holding are pretty minimal. If it does hold, then...
Yeah, if bishop f4, rook b5 check. Forces king h6. Yeah. So I'm confident this is a draw.
This should somehow be a draw, yeah.
Like even
Rook h5,
rook h5, rook h4, yeah.
Oh,
It's probably an immediate draw.
Or
Not immediate,
96.
but 96, knight g3 or...
Yeah.
Of course, white still has to place a few... Be a bit careful, but should be a draw.
Yeah.
all right, I'll sweat it out. Thanks a lot, guys, and best of luck for the tournament.
Thank you.
Let's sum up the events of the day so far. We have had Vachier-Lagrave teaching a lesson to young Vincent Keimer, winning a nice strategic game. Not completely obvious where Keimer went wrong. Vichy was pointing towards the move bishop g7 as maybe being a bit slow. And then later on, after bishop g5, when it looked like black was under some pressure, but Vichy mentioned that here, bishop f6, knight b5, rook ec8, bishop e2, knight to g7. The game very much continues, black keeping the structure intact. Well, after knight f4, bishop takes ef, rook e6. The black position probably was too vulnerable to keep together. Peter Svidler won a very nice game against Arkady Naidic, which I was showing this knight maneuver before the guys showed up the long walk of the knight all the way to c4. And Arkady had seen enough losing these 2 pawns. Yeah, bit of a model game if you wonder how to deal with the exchange rule opus and how to handle these structures. I think we can all learn a lot from how Svidler handled that one. Means that Peter Svidler, who's been taking this tournament seriously, he came with the second, he said he even looked at some chess before, moves to 1.5 out of 2 to +1, Arkady Naidic to -1, half out of 2. And currently that means our co-leaders are Vachier-Lagrave and Peter Svidler on 1.5 out of 2. Will probably be joined by Magnus Carlsen, but it's not impossible that Carlsen will grab the sole lead in this tournament with 2 out of 2, depending on what happens in this game against Paco Vallejo, where The guys now sounded quite confident that the position after rook to b4 is a draw, but let's study the live cam. I'd still be worried in Paco's shoes. Looks so tricky. Paco will of course be tired after all these hours of defending against the world champion, and we've seen Magnus win worse positions than this. There are questions who is seconding Peter. It's, I believe, is it Kirill Alexeyenko? I know it's Alexeyenko. Don't quote me on the first name, but yeah, I think it's Kirill. Young, very up and coming player from Russia. So yeah, Peter means business, and he did do the business today. Not sure if Paco has any seconds. If he has, he's been hiding them well. We've had dinner the other day. I did not see any secret helpers, but of course, nowadays you don't need your seconds on site. You can just have them on Skype or on a more modern platform where you can exchange like files. So I'm sure Paco has someone helping him, but I don't think they're here. Other second news, Magnus is with the family. I'm sure he has his usual helpers in place, but I haven't spotted them here either. Naidic, I am not sure. He worked a lot with Etienne Bacro, who is playing in the Open, so probably has no time to help him during the event. Caruana is with his usual trainer, Rustam Kazimchanov. For Maxime, who also worked a lot with Etienne Bacro, I do not know. We will investigate a bit more. Obviously, Vincent Keimer is being seconded, counseled, escorted to the game, bodyguarded by Peter Leko and Levon Aronian Germaya. I also do not know. All right, rook to b4 played by Mr. Vallejo. Sorry. So let's have a look at the options here. The thing is, if I understood the gentleman correctly, that after rook g4, let's say king f6, I'm not sure if knight takes g3 works, but I guess it comes down to the same thing. After knight f4, rook f4 should be a draw, and white can also just go rook takes g3, when bishop g3, knight g3, or king g3. Should be a reasonably straightforward draw. Like, I'd still be panicky, but I do believe that this is considered to be just a draw. So Paco, a favorite to hold from here, knight e6 played, but easy it won't be. Let's have a look. Knight e6 threatening, knight f4 check, so yeah, rook g4 seems very, very forced. Now Maxime was mentioning king h6. I hope I'm quoting this right. Rook g6, king h7, rook g3. Once again, probably will come down to something like this, which should be a draw, but Magnus has every right to play this position out, and he's won less winning positions than this. I recall he won rook and knight versus rook against Erwin Lamy in one of these Vikes. And here, well, there's no pawns obviously, and the material balance should indicate it's a draw. I'm not sure how simple this is. I've never had this over the board. I've never looked at it. It's known to be a theoretical draw, but you can try. You have a rook, you centralize the king, you try to push the white king. What white is going for him is that any exchange, anything for anything, will lead to a very, very simple draw here. What's happening in the chat? Drawbreaker says, Peter keeps exploiting young GMs from St. Petersburg after Vityugov and Matlakov have grown up. I'm not sure that's the situation, but I'm glad that Peter seems to be taking this seriously, and he brought a guy. So, good for him, and things are currently working out very well after today. Mr. Dodgy is saying, endgames are hard and full of terrors. Shouldn't it be endgames are long and full of terrors? I don't want to be too picky, but if you're going to go that way. There is a question about the time control. You do get 15 extra minutes at move 60. It's currently move which move is it? 46. So Paco still has a bit of a way to go until move 60. But it does look like the position will simplify after he gives the exchange in one way or another on the g3 square, leading to a position that can probably be handled even without too much time on the clock. Anything else to wrap up? Not really. Vichy won. Svidler won. Meyer Aronian was a draw, leaving Georg Meyer on 1 out of 2 draws against strong players. Caruana versus MVL, which I saw. Fabiano put quite some pressure on Maxime, but Maxime said, I will not kneel, and held the position together. Kudos to Monsieur Maxime. Seward is saying white king h3, bishop e8 versus black king f4, rook a2 should be a draw. Not sure. Evans Gambit is asking, Jan, is it fair that Magnus so far this year had 4 blacks more than whites? What do you want me to say? No, it's very unfair, but normally there's a drawing of lots, and sometimes when you play roulette, you get 4 blacks in a row or 4 reds in a row. It's not always symmetrical, but over big sample sizes, these things tend to even out. And Magnus, he's been doing pretty well with the black pieces, but I'm sure he'd prefer to have an extra white. Who would not? Yeah, keep drawing attention to that injustice. Paco Boy, after rook g4, king f6, has, I think, a choice how to take here. What I'm trying to figure out, knight g3, knight f4, maybe that's what Sua was talking about, rook f4, bishop f4, knight h5, king e5, knight takes f4, king takes f4. This should be reasonably straightforward draw. Ideally, you want to run with the king to the other corner so that you have all these stalemate defenses. That's at least what you're taught in chess school, but I also don't think black has any serious winning chances here. Pardon my ignorance about these things. It just looks like a draw, no? Bishop c6, whatever. Is there anything that black can try instead after knight takes g3? Of course, he shouldn't go knight f4, he should go knight g5. That's smarter. Then at least after rook g5, king g5, white cannot exchange the knight for the bishop. Of course, that's the point, because king h4 would be a bit of a mistake, as Peter Svidler would say, after rook h2. Checkmate. So it seems like no matter what Paco does, he will get this position with knight and bishop against probably rook and knight, be it knight g3 or rook and bishop, you can choose that, or rook g3. After rook g3, I'm wondering if black has to take or if he can find a way to exchange the knight for the rook, but I don't think so. Knight g5 check. Looks to me like white can go king to g4 instead of rook takes g5 after king g4. There's no looming checkmate, so black sooner or later has to take here. So that's the situation. And let's study the Carlsen camp. Mr. Carlsen. No, it doesn't look like he's going through the motions. He does very much still look interested in the game. And even though I'm sure he knows it's a draw, this position and exchange up, I feel like black, well, I feel it's not a standard draw where you know what goes where, then you shake hands. But the black should have some practical chances there. So what is saying? Knight g3 should not lose. Agreed. Speckhook is asking, Jan, do you reckon the great Chucky will be relevant again? He's always been relevant, and he's a fantastic chess player. Legend, played so many great games. Father Time is undefeated, so if you're asking me if he will return to the top 10, then he's probably a massive underdog. But it hasn't been long that he won the World Rapid Championship, no? Like 2 years ago? So, to my mind, he's still very much relevant. Evans Gambit is saying it's a table-based win. I'm not sure what, where, when. Sessa is saying black is winning. After bishop c6, he played bishop c6? Hang on. Paco didn't want the suffering of rook takes g3 and went bishop c6, but what's wrong with that? Why is this winning? Why is it an enormous blunder? Educate me, chat. I don't see it. I see stuff like g2, bishop takes, knight f4, probably forcing rook f4, bishop f4. Could such a position be winning because the knight is so passive? Is that it? Still looks like a draw to me, frankly. Bishop f3. I don't get it. Please help me. Why is this so bad? I can try to fire up Sessa Boy, but it doesn't look logical to me. Or, it's not obvious to me why this would be losing. Minus 149. Nah, you're just making up stuff, Sessa, no? What Sessa you? G2. I take. What you want? Bishop f4, mate in whatever? I don't know, I can't even read this, but I don't get it. Knight f4, rook f4, bishop f4, bishop f3, that's a draw, come on. Who are you kidding? So yeah, I don't understand the enormous blunder. Shout out, maybe I'm missing something deep, but don't get it. G2 plate, bishop g2 is forced because rook g2. Knight f4 check, not a great idea since the king cannot keep contact with the rook without stepping into a little check. Let's say king g3, knight takes g2. So you can't do that, you have to take with the bishop as Paco will without a doubt. Should mention for completeness sake that knight e3 steps into a bit of a pin, also not ideal because such a position is probably lost, at least. That seemed to be the consensus with Fabiano and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave as well, that this should be winning for black. So I believe Paco has to take here, and he will. Then after knight f4, he has to take this. And this position, to me it looks drawn. I'm not sure, maybe I'm missing something and it's a table-based win. But I'd be very surprised. I can't picture how this is supposed to be winning. Someone's telling me bishop takes g2, bishop f4 is mate in 57. Did I read that right? Bishop f4 here is mate in 57? It's a draw, come on. I don't believe you. Knight g3? Why should I be get mated in 57? It's equal material. I don't believe you guys. Knight in 54? Still don't believe you. I don't know, maybe I'm reading something wrong, but to my Patzer eyes, it looks like knight f4 is the best try. Rook f4, bishop f4, bishop f3. And I would not exactly bet my life on it, but I'd be extremely surprised if this position was not a draw. Theoretically, because white can untangle. He can go knight g3, you can never exchange anything, and after rook a3, king g2 or king g4, or let's say king here, knight g3, rook a3, king g2. This is a draw. So I still don't understand it. I keep reading table-based confirms win in 79 moves. Tell me how and why. Mate in 54 by table-base. I'm not buying it. Give me moves. How do you win this? Bishop g2, knight f4 check is on the board in the meantime, which yet looked like the only try. Takes, takes. Bishop f3. Yeah, looks like a draw to me. If Database is saying it's mate in 54, it will be hard for me to argue. But every thing we know about chess would indicate that this is drawn. Knight g3 is coming. Like, how do you make progress? I'm still not buying it. Rook f4, bishop f4, bishop f3, bishop e5, knight g3, king g5, knight e2, bishop c7, king g2, king h4, etc. I'm being told. Yeah, hard to argue with table base. To my eyes, it still looks like a draw. But I'm sure the table bases are not lying. And this position is winning. I don't see how. The king is not getting mated here, is it? King e1, bishop e3, king d1. These pieces are forming a pretty effective barrier against the black king. So obviously I'm wrong if this position is somehow winning everything. I thought I knew about chess would indicate this is a draw. But maybe with the opposite color bishops, you know, there is enough attacking force here. We'll be very curious to see if Magnus can grind out an attack against the king. I'm getting mixed messages here. Mate in 43, rook f4 is minus 0.46 by Sesse. I don't know. Carlsson obviously should continue and will continue for a long time. How big his chances of success are, I do not know. Another question I have, I don't know the answer to this question, but if it's established that it's a, let's say, a mate in 56, could you claim a draw by 50 move rule, or are there are some exceptions, no, like some endgames, where it's extended to 75 moves? It's an honest question, I don't know. The answer, I would assume that you can claim a draw after 50 moves and the mate can actually not be executed, but I do think I recall that there were some cases where the 50 move rule was not in place and you could say, no, this is this and that. Here 75 moves applies because it's a table-based mate in X number of moves. I'm not sure if this is one of the case or if I'm making up stuff. Suat is saying everything in 50 moves. Okay. All right. Thanks, Suat, for the information. Mr. Dochi is saying 75 moves back in time. They removed the 75 moves stuff. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, that's something in the back of my head. Muy Lopez is saying there's a reason MC is 230 elo greater than Jan. Yeah, I wasn't really disputing that Magnus is a better player than me. I was curious if this end game could be a win. And we'll ask Magnus if we get the chance, but I'd be very surprised if even the greatest endgame player alive thought this was a win. And once again, I could be very, very wrong. Muy Lopez. Am I 230 rating points greater than Muy Lopez though? That's the big question on my mind. Anyway, thanks a lot guys for all the help. Apparently, from what I understood, this is a table-based win, but in more than 50 moves, which means with perfect play, Paco can claim a draw in 50 moves from here. What will happen in the game? We shall see. I would still think he's a favorite to make a draw. But I would also think that we will be here for a while. So I'm glad we're back up and running. Thank you guys for keeping me company. Peter Leko had to leave because I think he's out like eating an ice cream and having a grand old time with Vincent Keimer, maybe the Keimer family. He of course pretends like, no, I have to work all night. I have to prepare for Fabiano Caruana's Leningrad Dutch tomorrow. But I could be wrong. And once again, I'm being explained something that makes sense. The 50 move limit is irrelevant as black wins a piece well before the 50 move limit. That makes sense. It's mate in 56 moves. But if we capture something along the way, of course we can't claim a draw. Interesting. And very interesting to me that apparently this is a theoretical win. With bishops of the same color, it's probably a simple draw because you can threaten to exchange these bishops. But with opposite color bishops, we know that opposite color bishops favor the attacker. Well, I learned something. I was sure it was going to be a draw. But apparently, this position is winning for black. AIS thesis is saying, Jan, you're confusing depth to mate, DTM, are those terms? And DTC, depth to capture. Yeah, figured it out. Thank you. AIS thesis. All right, then let's try to make some moves. Let's try to make some progress. I don't have any table bases switched on, so apologies if my moves are not the very best. Is this the line we were told? Something like this, no? King F2. Let's give a check. King E1 blunders a piece, that's probably a mistake. King G2, Rook A2, King F1. Okay, the air is starting to get a little thin here. Yep, now it looks winning. Let's say king to h2, rook to f1, and the white pieces just don't have enough squares. King g2, rook f2, bishop g2, bishop b8. Wow, that looks smooth. Okay, I really learned something. I was reasonably certain this endgame should be a draw. Apparently, it's just not. Getting a message? What's happening? And someone saying knight g3 blunder. Well, if it's winning anyway, you can't blunder, no? Maybe after knight g3 it's a mate in 37 and not a mate in 56. Knight g3 was also the most obvious move to me, preparing rook a3, king g2. But it does look like this position is winning. Let's study the body language, because that's what we do on this show. We are body language doctors, not real doctors. But yeah, Magnus seems incredibly confident there, walking around having a look at the position. And Paco, I could be wrong, maybe Paco thought this was lost, but just didn't have any alternative. But to me it looks like he thought he was getting into a drawn position, and now he realizes what I had to realize. Well, I was told so, he wasn't. That this is not simple at all. And Fjolstad is saying king g5 blunder. And I don't think we have to say blunder every time someone does not make the table-based move. In these very positions, people don't have table bases implanted in their brains. And king g5 is by far the most obvious move, trying to bring the king closer to the action. So blunder, I struggle with that word, even if it's not the table-based move. It's by far the most obvious move. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a blunder. Knight e2 feels like the move you want to play. You want to build a barrier with the knight controlling the dark squares and the bishop controlling the light squares. But it seemed like that barrier was not as strong as I thought. What was my line? Rook a3, king g2, king h4, something like this. Now we have to do better than this king f2 stuff earlier. So here. Yeah, to me it still feels like a draw. I'm reading every Russian schoolboy knows how to win this. I'm not so sure about that. In fairness, Fabiano and MVL aren't Russian schoolboys, but they're pretty decent at chess, and it sounded to me like they also thought this was just a draw. So this is news. I should read. There's this John Nunn book, No Secrets of Pawnless Endgames. I was never that much into pawn endings myself, so pawnless endings seemed like a very dry topic to read about. But I'm sure this endgame is covered in that book. And maybe it's all been known forever, but this is just winning. Chess Kids is saying Paco may lose on time. I don't think he's going to lose on time. He gets some more time on move 60, and he gets 30 seconds increment per move. So I don't think that's a danger. He's played knight e2, but the danger is probably that the position might be lost. Yeah, a lot of chess experts out there saying mate in 55, which tough to spot from afar that is mate in 55. And there's something happening. The arbiter is coming. Magnus is saying, leave me alone. I'm not quite sure what the arbiter wanted. Maybe give him his new score sheet. Maybe the score sheets expire after move 60. Maybe told him, okay, give me that after move 60, not now when I'm thinking. Not quite sure. Knight e2, and he makes a waiting move, bishop c7. Is that a blunder? Trying to Zugzwang Paco, he's saying. Now your bishop cannot move. Your knight cannot move because then king f4. So the only move you seem to have is king back to g2. After which I can, if I want to, occupy more territory by going king to h4. Okay, not a blunder, best move. All right. And yeah, big picture, once again, kudos to Magnus, because if we look at this position, it is a position with equal material and 2 pawns each, where you would assume that the pawns will just disappear and equal material will remain, or a drawn endgame like, let's say, rook knight versus rook, or even rook bishop versus rook. But Magnus found a way not only to keep the tension, but to get a material constellation without pawns, with rook bishop against opposite colored bishop and knight. That does seem to be winning. And apparently, according to our friends with table bases, Magnus has played it perfectly so far. There's a question, how can anybody calculate 50 moves ahead? No one can, but you don't need to. You just need to make progress, and that's what Magnus is doing here. He's gaining territory. No one's calculating 50 moves ahead, because you can't. But he can see certain winning positions, and he has clearly spotted a way to make progress. Here, I would guess, it's bishop b6 check, king g2, and we work with Zugzwang again, yes, rook somewhere, let's say. And white, once again, can't keep up his construction. What was the position I had earlier? Was something like this, no? King g2, rook e1. This seems to be a key position where the black pieces are perfectly placed and the white defenses are overloaded. The bishop doesn't have a square, has to stay in touch with the knight. The knight doesn't have any good square because wherever it goes, something drops, like here, you can't keep it all together. And if king h2, the line was rook here. Once again, no defense. King g2, rook f2, bishop g2, bishop c7. Just checkmate. Yeah. That looks easy. So Paco played, instead of king g2, probably seeing he can't allow this rook a1, rook e1, he played king to e1. And I'm guessing bishop e3 will happen, trying to cut off the king. And this is also the position where I earlier was proclaiming it to be a draw, even though I, of course, have been proven wrong by the table bases, but where I don't really see a win just yet. How do we make progress here? Bishop e3 feels correct, king d1, and now what? Bring the king? Table base boys. What do we do? Guess bring the king over now. King h3, but it seems pointless. Bishop e3 has been played. What's going on now? The table bases are arguing with each other. Syzygy table bases. The table bases are arguing. Why am I yelling in the background? That's very confusing. Lando 1 is saying Pons playing like a crazed weasel. First of all, no one calls him Pons. That's the second family name, which no one uses in Spanish. Secondly, it looks like he's making all the best moves for a long time now. So, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say. Magnus is in deep thought. So far, yeah, it was obvious how to make progress, but now he has to find a new plan. It seems less obvious to me. If it's centralizing the king, going king g5, king f5, or making a waiting move. But then white always has king d1, like after king d1. I don't get it. TomTom is saying king d1 best, and now rook d2, king e1, rook d8. Interesting. But yeah, makes sense ruling out this king d1 defense. Far from obvious. This is winning, yeah? Sorry, I keep asking this. I understand it's winning. I just can't really wrap my head around it. Why it's winning. I go somewhere. Probably king g4. Having a little more space. Go somewhere again. I'm seeing something. Oh wow! I guess this is the line. King c2, rook d2, lose the knight. After king e1, bishop h4. Now we're forcing the king to where the sun don't shine on the king side. Wow, this is some deep stuff, some nice maneuvering. Rook f8, you can't go king g2 because of rook f2. So king g1 only move, and here the bishop comes here and the king no longer can leave the corner. Yeah, this rook d2, rook d8. If Magnus finds this, hats off, but yeah, that's pretty nice. Rook d2, rook d8. I did not think of it all. I thought you centralized the king, but I couldn't see how to make progress. So that's the way. Just don't allow the king to enjoy the center of the board very much. Cut it off on the d file, and then with bishop d2 check, we will eventually chase it to the king side, where he will meet his maker. Good stuff. big question is, will Magnus find this? Generally, I think we've learned not to bet against Magnus. But it's not obvious because the rook is so nice on the second rank. So to go rook d2, rook d8, putting it at first sight, just further away, is far from an easy decision. And yeah, if he comes up with this, more power to him. Then the mechanism is also white can't just wait, which you would like to do. Just pass here, and then after bishop d2 you can go king d1. But you have to move the bishop after the bishop moves. King comes here, and white can no longer keep up this defensive construction with his bishop on f3, defending the knight and covering all the entry squares. So, interesting stuff. And a very interesting endgame. Dr. Body Language, yeah, Magnus looks like a hungry lion. If male lions would do their own hunting, because normally I think they chill and send the lionesses to do the work. While Paco, I'm not sure. He doesn't look like prey, but he also doesn't look confident that it's a draw, which it's not, so he shouldn't look confident. But yeah, Magnus has not played this rook d2, rook d8 check. So he played king g5, which, yeah, looked like the obvious way to centralize the king. But now, once again, I'm not going to need help from the table boys. And please stop yelling blunder whenever it's not the table-based move. It's a bit annoying. But is this still winning for black? I'm guessing we can return to this construction. But if he needs this rook d2, rook d8 idea, then this doesn't feel like progress. Oh yeah, king g5 and turning king f5. Felt like the human way, but I'm not sure. Maybe after bishop e4 he can once again go king g4, saying thank you for vacating the g4 square. Try to break the construction this way. But you still need to chase the king away from chilling out here. No, let's say I go where c6, b7 here. Because the king cannot pass this wall of knight on e2 covering the dark squares and the bishop on the long diagonal covering the light squares. There's no entry anywhere for the king, so you still have to overload the white pieces with some of these shenanigans. Rook d2, I guess still rook d8. Not sure if it's still winning. I would guess so, because we can probably return to the setup from earlier. Now what can you do? Another question is, I'm not sure how close this, what was the terminology? Time to capture, time to mate, whatever it was. Depth to capture, depth to mate. Is if Magnus can afford to lose some moves by not playing the computer-wise ideal moves, or if that brings Paco close enough to 50 moves territory, that then even if the position remains winning, it can no longer be won in the assigned number of moves. I saw the other day in the, what was it? The Czech League, Movsesian won a game against Vidit where he had to mate with knight and bishop against king. And it took him exactly 50 moves. They took one extra tour across the board. He had this winning method, but then he let the king out one more time. and had to do it on the other side of the board, and he mated exactly in 50 moves. So, even in more trivial endgames, the 50 moves rule can almost be rescued. This one, I would guess, I could be wrong, especially with Magnus. He has huge amounts of knowledge that sometimes you don't even expect him to have. I would guess the players have never checked this particular endgame. Rook and opposite color bishops versus knight. So I'd be very surprised if they are not on their own here, and I'd even be surprised if they knew the assessment of the position. But I'm curious to find out. I still feel it's more or less a coin flip between a draw and Magnus winning here. Because, yeah, they don't have the table basis. Bishop G2 played by Paco. Looks very natural. You can always return to F3 next move, so I'm not sure. I'm reading a mistake, maybe. Bishop C6 was the table-based move, but these differences over the board, who can tell? You're just thinking, okay, nothing bad happens to me directly, I can go back to F3 next move. Then I should not spend all my time, especially if I only have like 1.5 minutes left, on the differences between Bishop C6 and Bishop G2. So this is move number 60. Vallejo has managed to play Bishop to G2 and gain another 15 minutes of thinking time. That, of course, once you have to start calculating lines, can be gone very, very quickly. Magnus, after he makes his next move, I think will get an additional 50 minutes as well, so he will have 50 minutes plus 30 seconds per move. And they will start the last dance. Magnus Carlsen, once again, with the black pieces, playing by far the longest game of the round. Not really taking it easy in his double black to begin the tournament with, but trying to grind out wins in long, tough, grueling endgames. I'm being told that Bishop G2 was a big mistake, and now it's mate in 37. And the question is if Bishop D2 is an easy move. It's not so much about the move, but about the idea behind it, which I'm trying to figure out what it could be. Because, okay, I go Bishop F3, why is Bishop D2 so great? I'm assuming the point is Bishop, let's say, to B4, and then Rook D2 check, trying to force the king to the queen side, where it's separated from his pieces and then creating targets. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say it's an easy move, but it's a plan that Magnus could think of, especially if he doesn't see a way to proceed further. But he's already played king to D6, which is another very, very logical way to play. Bring the king to C5 and ideally C4, D3, trying to create inroads into the white position here. So, no, apparently Bishop D2 wasn't an easy move because the greatest endgame player alive did not play it. And yeah, Paco is... Wait, now he has some time to think, and he has to figure out what to do against this human plan of going king c5, king c4, king d3, and sometimes knight c1 check might work, but of course Magnus could throw in rook b2 first, making sure that knight c1 check is not a fork. So let's see if, once again, don't have table bases, so apologies if it don't make sense. If we wait, let's say here, how black... this is a blunder. This is cute. This you should not allow. d5 check, king d5. So let me put the rook on b2 first. Now I continue my waiting. Here I guess this bishop should not go to f3, nor not to allow king to d3, but try to now stay on this diagonal. I'm not sure, maybe c2, to form a new barrier for the king. And then if the king tries to return here, the bishop returns to the long diagonal and covers things. So I don't see progress to be made here for Magnus by bringing the king. And of course he can do a bit of trial and error, but once again this 50 moves rule is there lurking. He is now 11 moves in. The last capture was on move 50, so he does not have that much scope for trial and error, assuming this is not the way to make progress. At least it seems like Paco's drawing chances have improved if Magnus has to spend some moves, bring the king here, and then realizing there is no way through. I would guess he will take quite a bit of time now trying to figure out how he can pose problems, because no one can calculate 37 moves ahead here. You have to find a concept where you feel there are good chances to overload the white defenses. And apparently, from what I learned earlier, there were two moments here. One after king d1 was rook d2 check, keeping the king on the king side, king e1, and this weird idea, rook d8, removing the rook from the second rank. Then intending with a timely bishop d2 check to force the king to the king side, and seemed like this was winning for black. The other one was, what was it? This bishop d2 move, which I haven't fully understood, but I guess the plan, then is to move this bishop on this diagonal, go rook d2 check, and say, okay, now your pieces are unconnected from your king, and that will mean I will either have a mating attack or win material by combining these two things properly. All of these things way over my head, but it does seem at the very least that here after king c5 white can continue to wait on this diagonal now, and there is no direct inroads into his position. How do we do? Let's say bishop f5, king c4, bishop e6, bit of a mistake, so maybe king b4, keep waiting, and maybe check, now rook b2, not to allow this bishop c2 directly, but king d1, and let's say king c4, bishop c2, this is the construction I had earlier. Well, I still don't see a way through here. Wait, and this tag team, bishop and knight, still do a pretty good job of keeping the king out by covering all these squares. So currently I think a draw is a favorite. Mr. Vallejo getting closer to the golden 50 move rule, and it seems like Carlsson at least doesn't have a clear idea yet how to tear this apart. Fuchsia is pointing out the position is explained in Rulopeth for Dummies, page 13. Yeah, sometimes people make the mistake of not reading all these for Dummies books. And there are some questions if the rules should be changed away from 50 moves and so on. We had that and it was too messy. No, with the 75 moves thing, I think the 50 moves rule is fine, and there are so few exceptions. Like here, if you want to make sure that with perfect play a side can win, Magnus had that chance, no? And I don't think if by move 50 here he has a winning position, that would lead to any debate of us changing the rules. Players are aware of the rules. International Master Tonton is saying, okay, we'll end in a draw. Congrats to Paco Vallejo for his tough defense. I think I agree. Yeah, I think a draw is a big favorite now. Because this plan, sending the king over here, will not yield any dividends, and it also makes it very hard with the 50 move clock ticking to return with the king to the center or the king side, which apparently gave better chances. So of course Magnus will try until the very end, but I also think that Paco is now favored to hold. Let's study the body language. Carlsson thinking, but yeah. Just both calculating lines. As they should. Tough fight for Mr. Vallejo. But so far, even if the position was lost, he has not given Magnus anything easy. And by that I don't mean now it's mate in 37, not in 52, but he hasn't shown an obvious chink in his armor after which the white position could collapse in a couple moves. And that's not an easy thing to do at all. So kudos to him for defending well. And currently, okay, Magnus is trying to change the character of the game a bit by going for this rook d2, rook d8 maneuver that we also met earlier. Because currently it was easy for Paco to defend against this setup. He just kept his bishop on this diagonal as long as the king is on the queen side, and then the king can't really enter anywhere. So Magnus is giving him a new look by putting this rook on d8. I'm not sure what he wants after, let's say, bishop e4. Probably his best chance is still to return the king to the center. Of course, precious time would have been lost, but then there are these topics that we've met before with bishop d2 check, forcing the king back to the king side and trying to weave mating nets here to bring the king to g4. Maybe he's not in time anymore, but he should still try if he sees this mission to c5 has not accomplished anything. But so far he's continuing his exploits off the queen side. Exploits, explorations, whatever. By putting the king on c4. Yeah. The trap, I guess, is bishop f5, bishop d2 check. I'm not sure it's a trap, but just to show the idea. King f2, rook f8. Maybe white still survives somehow, but this is starting to look very clumsy, because here after bishop f4, actually still holds bishop e6. No? No way through. It's true that Paco will be in time trouble soon. I feel though currently the onus is on Magnus to ask a question, because he had to move the bishop without blundering it on the appropriate diagonal, which is as long as the king is on the queen side. This diagonal and the long diagonal once the king returns to the center slash king side is not very hard for Paco to do. So Magnus has to find a way to ask questions. And I think the first difficult decision is on Magnus to bring his king back to the center, realizing that this mission was not a success. There's still time, it's move 64, which means we're only 14 moves in, and there are still 36 moves, 35 moves to make until the 50 move rule kicks in. But you have to pose a problem, because yeah, Paco is not gonna blunder here. And people do seem to want to change the 50 moves rule because of this very game. Even though if you think it's unfair, because Magnus, yeah, can't win because of the 50 moves rule, he could have won with perfect play, well within those rules. So he did have the chance, even with the evil 50 move rule. So I'm not sure that reasoning makes sense. I personally think the 50 move rule is fine. What are you up to, Paco boy? Paco's calculating. Paco is very, very good at these positions with no structure, where it's this goes here, this goes there. He's always been a very concrete player. So I do not think that, well, obviously, it sounds silly to say it's losing or it's a draw, but that the type of position is bad for him because he can calculate, okay, this is the most resilient. I go here, he goes there, that kind of stuff. But let's see what he does. He goes king to f1. I'm wondering where he plans to go after rook f8 check. Must be back to e1 now. Oh wow, this is beautiful. Not sure if it's good, but it's pretty. King g2, rook f2 check, apparently winning a piece. But we do have king to h1, rook takes d2, and bishop d3 check. When after king takes d3, otherwise we take the rook. There are no legal moves left, and white is not on check, so it would be a draw. Is this Paco's idea? Really? Might be bad, first of all, but it would still be a cunning trap. The problem is the king might be moving into the danger zone here. So as long as Magnus spots this, but probably he would spot, since he's not expecting a free horsey from Paco. The question is if this is not just a bad position. And I might have jinxed Paco by praising his calculation abilities in these positions if he found this cute trap, but did not realize that he's put his king into a very dangerous spot here. Table boys, what's happening? Magnus back in business? Yeah, Nikita Petrov is pointing out the same trick, but the king could just be in grave danger on h1, huh? Yeah, Paco goes king e1. That looks more natural, maybe. He either didn't spot the trick, or he just thought, okay, no way, I'm going to the corner. Now, can we break the white coordination here? Check. King here, check. King here, bishop e3. This could be bad news, no? Now, white lost the setup that was saving him earlier with the bishop on c2 and king wherever. Because rook d2 is coming, and after bishop f3, rook d2, king b1, king, the black king does enter. King d3, king b3, I don't know. This feels like progress at the very least. And yeah, bishop f2 check plate. Yeah, I really jinxed poor Paco just when I praised him. And now he's in trouble. King f1, bishop c5, and if king e1 now, are we getting mated here? It's similar. Once again, white sort of lost coordination here, because his pieces no longer build a wall against the black king. King c2, rook d2, not a great idea. And after king c1, how do you do this? Still guess rook d2. And black enters. Don't quote me on moves, I don't have table bases as mentioned. But it feels like black has made progress. Maybe some deep stuff here. Bishop e7, bishop g5, whatever. Yeah. Now we can no longer keep the black army at bay, and if the king makes it to the third rank here at some point, things are bad. So what happened? King d2 played. And yeah, this rook d8, bishop e3 should be played. And seems like the tables have turned yet again, and now Magnus is a favorite to get the win here. King c2 will be played, bishop e3 will be played, and the black construction is no longer safe. So Paco, what is it? Like king f1 was the mistake, yeah? You had to keep waiting on this diagonal with the king in the center. Okay, this is, yeah, big turnaround. And once again, Magnus, okay, I shouldn't say he's going to win now, because just when I said Paco was going to draw, Paco made a mistake. But at the very least, Magnus finds ways to continue posing problems. Wow, a lot of drama. Mr. Crinkle is saying Sesse says still a draw without a problem. Maybe Sesse doesn't have table bases, or is it still a draw? This looks winning now. Old boy Patzer is asking, will we get Magnus' interview today? I doubt it, because it's another very long game. Most restaurants close around 10 here. So he will probably more concerned with food. Be more concerned with food once he's done. But we'll see. I'm sure he will join us one of these days. Maybe when he plays a game that's slightly shorter than 6 hours. Pro Wizard is asking how many moves are over. 18 moves are over, so there's still 32. And it feels somehow like this position should collapse in less than 32 moves. No, like I don't have it exactly figured out, but here the white pieces are so far away from each other that it feels like there should be a way in. How do we do this? Can someone help me? King a3, king b3, knight c1, king a3, waiting move. Yeah, tough day at the office. Paco, bishop f3 has been played. What else? D2 check also looks, yeah, also happened already. King b1, and now black needs a good move. I'm not sure, but it could be one of these Zugzwang situations again, where every move makes white's position worse. I think that's the definition of Zugzwang. Let's say knight c1, the king comes. b2 is looming, and for example, knight 2, check, king a1. This does not feel very comfortable in this corner after bishop f6. Yeah. The end is near. Wow. Drama, and it does feel to me like the culprit was this king f1 move Paco played here. Was important to keep. so hard to even explain, because after king f1 he also keeps this construction, just gives Magnus the move by move option to equalize it here, because after king c2, bishop e3, you no longer are able to put the bishop on c2, the king on e1. So yeah, it feels to me like king f1 was a mistake, or maybe he played it with the intention to go for the stalemate trick and then realized that after king g2, rook f2, king h1, black is by no means obliged to take the knight on e2, but if he just goes whatever, bishop c5, with his king in the corner and the black king marching all the way back, there's trouble. So yeah, I expect this game to be over soon now. Knight c1, king a3 on the board. This plan of rook b2 check followed by bishop d4 should end proceedings pretty much instantly, actually. Maybe knight e2, at least stopping bishop d4 for now, but after rook b2, king a1, this bishop will find his way to this diagonal. How do you do it? Bishop g5, for example. And yeah, that will be mate. Not doing this in the smartest of ways, but I think it's a smart enough way. Now next move is rook somewhere on the second rank, and you have to give up the knight to avoid mate, so it's lost. What happened in the game? King a3, knight e2, b2, king a1. And yeah, Magnus didn't play bishop g5, but he played rook b8 with similar themes. If the knight moves, then bishop d4 wins, and if the bishop moves, bishop g5. Intending bishop f6 should end proceedings. Yeah, game over. I would not be surprised if Paco resigned right here, right now, and yeah, you can see it on his face. He knows it's over. And Magnus, after another marathon session, grinds out 2 out of 2, starting the tournament with 2 black games, which I understand he's a rating favorite in both these games. But to make anything happen with the black pieces against a highly qualified chess player like Vincent Keimer and especially Paco Vallejo is not an easy task by itself. And yeah, to win both these games is very, very impressive. Paco, of course, understands it's over. He's coming to terms with that fact sometimes. You need like 2-3 minutes in such situations to go through the 5 stages of grief. Dapta, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Are those 5 stages? Let's operate on the assumption. Yeah. Once you have reached the acceptance stage, Paco will resign here because there's no way to continue the game. Bishop g5, bishop f6 is not rocket science for the world champion. Paco is wondering where did things go wrong, was lost all the way. You sometimes, yeah, you go through the game mentally, take a moment, then yeah, you call it quits, which is what's happening here. After knight c3, bishop d4 will end the game as after any bishop move, bishop g5, bishop f6 will. So that brings me close to the end of today's show. I'll stick around on the off chance that Magnus wants to stop by, even though yeah, I think it's too late and he should be focused on food intake. But today we've had quite some bloodshed. We've had Vachier-Lagrave defeat Vincent Keimer in a nice game. We've had Peter Svidler win with the black pieces against Arkady Nadic, and we will have Magnus Carlsen winning against Paco Vallejo, who just resigned after this rook to b8. Kudos to Magnus once again, showing his incredible practical strength. He didn't make all the table-based moves in this endgame, but he found a way to break the white defenses, which is really what matters. You can only score 1 point against any opponent, and Magnus now winning 5 games in a row, if we count the last 3 games in Shamkir, where he defeated Giri, Kayakin, Grishuk, now Keimer and Vallejo. World champion is on a roll. his rating keeps growing. His confidence keeps growing. He has been undefeated for 52 games. And yeah, is in the sole lead after 2 rounds of this Grenke Chess Classic 2019. I want to apologize for all the technical hiccups we've had through yesterday and especially today. I very much hope the situation will get under control in the days to come, because of course we want to cover all the action here. There is plenty excitement to talk about, and tomorrow it continues with the adventures of Vincent Keimer. Next episode, white against Fabiano Caruana. We have the world champion with the white pieces against the guy who I think he played once or twice, Magnus Carlsen versus Vachier-Lagrave. Vachier-Lagrave also won a level of 2, feeling himself. We have Levon Aronian playing Paco Vallejo, who just lost a painful game. Levon with the white pieces. Some history with these 2 guys, always interesting games. And we have Peter Svidler, our co-second place, together with Vachier-Lagrave, with the white pieces against Georg Meyer. If Svidler is feeling good about stuff, he will certainly be looking to add to his point count against Georg as well. And the door opens, the world champion is in the building. Magnus Carlsen is here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, first question, because people have been yelling at me with their table bases. Do you think this position is a win or a draw?
I mean, I think opposite colored bishops and rook, it's basically always winning.
Okay.
But I actually asked the arbiter, like, how many moves do I have? Because I thought there were some exceptions where you have 75, but I don't know. Maybe that's just in my mind. So, I mean, I knew it was generally always winning, but I had no clue how, and I was sure that against good defense it would take more than 50 moves.
Yeah, well, I just asked the same thing. It seemed like they had this 75 move rule exception, but it was changed like some years ago. So now everything is 50 moves. So
Okay, yeah, that's yeah. No, so I just asked him when he said it was 50. Then I thought, well, I have my work cut out for me. But I guess you get this once in your life, and this is mine. So. I'm sort of curious how to proceed, but we'll probably never get to use it again. The one thing I do know is that once I got this trick with rook f8 and bishop f2, then it was definitely winning. But
from what I gathered from what people said from table bases,
yeah,
cleanest is rook d2,
rook d2, rook d8. I mean, this is what I was gonna do, but then I started to see some ghosts with king f1, king h3, and knight c3, and so on. And then I wasn't so sure. I thought I'd change plans, but the plan that I chose wasn't very good, so I just needed to...
I thought if you get this, it's Zugzwang, and it's probably over.
How is it over? Rook, knight c3... you're checking rook f1, that's the thing. Oh, shit. Yeah, that could have saved me a lot of time. No, I mean, I thought rook d8 was definitely the way to go, but I just didn't see the correct plan.
It was knight c3, was it?
Okay, I mean, I guess with the way I played it in the game, I should be able to make it to 50, but...
yeah, the numbers kept changing. At some point, he could make it to 50. Then he couldn't anymore. Like king f1 seemed to be the
king f1
mistake. If here he plays, I don't know. Bishop f5,
yeah, the bishop is terribly placed on e4. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd lost the thread, so I was just playing for this one trick with rook f8. And unfortunately, I got it.
Overall in the game, like, you managed to keep it going at a certain point?
I wouldn't say so. Like, I completely missed f4, so I think at this point I was just lucky not to be seriously worse. Like, I had this little trick of knight h4 and king f4, and then rook g8 comes. But yeah, this is, yeah, I mean, just here. There's no reason for him to play for a draw. I think if he takes with something on d7, then I should be very happy to force a draw somehow. I suspect it's well within drawing range, but he's the one who's slightly better. And then king g2 I think is bad. He should go to f2, and then I think here with little time left, he just sort of panicked. He was probably afraid of some knight a3. I think if knight e5, king, so he was probably looking at this. And well, first of all, he could get this, take on f4 and then take b5. You wouldn't want to do that, obviously. But something like this, I don't know, rook d2 first. But he had little time, and it was already getting, I wouldn't say tricky, but not completely trivial. And then I thought for a very long time, not very long time, but at least a while, because there are so many tricks, but it doesn't seem to work. Like this, for instance, if I take c3, he takes, and some knight g4, it's never made, because once I go to d8, he just has bishop s3. Yeah, so here there were a lot of tricks. I was actually kind of looking forward to playing knight, bishop, and rook against rook and bishop, which I suspect.
That's winning, right? Yeah.
I suspect it's a draw. 2 bishops against 1 bishop is winning. It could be winning. I don't know. I mean, because especially at this point, I could go fe3, bishop g6, e2, king g2, and get rook and bishop. But I thought what I did in the game would give me more practical chances and at least be a lot more fun. Yeah, no, rook b6 was nice though. If I take, he takes e2, rook b1, rook e3.
And he has king g2 in the end.
King g2, and I don't have knight e6 because that one is
check.
It's check. Actually, I was kind of thinking about positions like, yeah, if my king was somewhere else, then king g2 would lose, but maybe I don't. Okay, that's too much. Okay, bishop e5, knight f1. Yeah, I mean, at any point you could get the other ending, but I think maybe rook b4 was drawing here, because I hallucinated here, thinking knight e6, king f5, and then I would have a check, but my king is in check, so
King f6.
Yeah, I would have to go here. Then he take.
But you have
knight f4.
Oh no, not here. No, he goes
Knight
king
f4. Maybe I can fight on here. King e7. I suspected this to be drawn though. Like knight e4 maybe. So rook g8 looks sort of okay. I mean, I think he could have gone for this. But when he goes rook c6, then my rook is not under attack from knight e4 on, so it's maybe not that clear. Let's say he goes for this. Yeah, no, I think I can try this. And yeah, bishop f6.
The game continues.
The game definitely continues, unless knight h5.
Rook h3.
Rook h3. Yeah. Okay. Who cares? Anyway, I mean, maybe he thought he could just wait, but this one, Also, there's if bishop c6, I have this, and this one I think must be winning somehow. When he has a knight, I feel like should be winning at least. I wouldn't say I know how, but I think it should win. Okay, yeah. Anyway, we got in the game.
So, important question. New episode of Game of Thrones and NBA playoffs. Like, what's your nightly entertainment?
No, I mean, there are so many games, so I just basically had to watch the condensed at this point. But it's I wouldn't say it's been fun, but it's been okay. And Game of Thrones, I think most people just lowered their expectations at this point, and in that sense, it's been fine.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Magnus. Best of luck for the tournament.
Thank you.
That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching all the way. We'll be back tomorrow with more action. Good night.
What do I